Hey, this is the Free Wave, music archaeologist, genre nerd, and new Synthwave fanatic. I wanted to do just another quick video blog. In particular, what I want to do today is talk about Lazerhawk. Now, as you know, Lazerhawk, his very first album came out in 2010, Redline, and a lot of people saw it as kind of the definitive Outrun album. Came around right at the right time, featured some huge hits like Overdrive. But, you know, Lazerhawk has always been on the cusp of what's happening, and over 4 albums' time, he's kind of changed his style and really kind of influenced what styles have come out of Synthwave if you really look at what he's done album-wise. So obviously we know about Redline, but let's talk about his second album, Visitors. So Visitors came out. It really is kind of the beginning of Spacewave, as you'll see when you're talking about sort of futuristic synths and kind of a space style. You will see it's really kind of the very first one here. Let's go take a look. And as you can see, there's quite a few different lists on that. This is Rate Your Music, by the way, which is kind of my home here. Initially, I didn't include him with that set, but if you take a look at the complete chronologic style of Spacewave, if you're talking Spacewave, he really came out before Tommy'86 and before the Futura compilation and Dynatron and Starforce, Droid Bishop. Why wouldn't you really kind of include him as kind of one of the artists who really helped kick off Spacewave? Because he's right there at the very, very beginning. That's February 6, 2012. If you wait another year, you've got Skull and Shark. Now, obviously, you've got another change of style here, and some darker sounds coming out of him. Well, what does that signify? Well, you really have kind of some of the early beginnings of Darksynth. Now, obviously, Darksynth, you've got Perturbator and Carpenter Brune and Mega Drive, and that technically does kick off in 2012 at the earliest phase. But I wouldn't say that when you're talking album, it's in its early phase at 2012, but you've got Judge Bitch Viper 2013, Dance with the Dead comes out, but you've also got Lazerhawk there. Now, I don't think per se that Lazerhawk Skull and Shark is a great, per se, Darksynth album, but I do think there's several tracks on there that really help kick it off, and I think it's really a 2014 that Darksynth with Dangerous Days and 198 XAD for Mega Drive and VHS Glitch, and that it really kicks off, and then of course Carpenter Brune, the trilogy being released, but the early EPs are what constitute the trilogy that Darksynth becomes really Darksynth. Now, obviously, you do have some stuff like King of the Streets and some of the other tracks that are a little bit more Outrun. And, all his albums kind of, you can point back to that they're not one consistent style throughout the entire album. And I wouldn't say that. But I would say, if you look at Lazerhawk at the cusp of every style that's come out, it's an important one to do. And then if you look at Dream Rider, which, obviously waited 4 years, a different style again, a lot more chiller, Dreamwave, Retrowave there, and a whole other style taking place. Now, so obviously some people think, well, this has been done before, it's not as good as your other works, but I think a lot of people do like it, and maybe it's kind of got a little bit of a bum rap per se, compared to how he was the cutting edge on those first 3 albums in the style. So, what do you think on that? Obviously, that when you look at some of these artists that have changed their style from album to album, same thing, I'm going to go ahead and point out Tommy'86. So, I pointed him out for Outer Space Adventure, which was really kind of a whole space feel to his first album. And, I think that was on the cutting edge of what Spacewave was. And then, frequency modulations came out. It's kind of a different style. You got some synth funk, you've got some Italo disco, and you could say it's definitely kind of more of a retrowave kind of album. And then, you wait till that third album comes out, and then Tommy'86, you've got really kind of a cyberpunk / Darksynth album here. You've got Perturbator, you've got Dan Terminus, and whether you think it's cyberpunk, whether you think it's more of sort of a Darksynth sound. It's a whole other change of perspective on the album. So, between Tommy'86 and Lazerhawk, they really see the album format as a way to change their style, really as both are sort of emerging, whether it's Spacewave or Darksynth, Cyberpunk, and obviously Lazerhawk way back in 2010 with Outrun, kicking that off. So wanted to point out these two artists, what they've done, and really how an artist can use the album format to really change style from album to album. And just two of the artists that have really been able to do that. Anyway, this is Freewave. I am working on the new Essentials chart for Synthwave version 4. So if you do get subscribed to my Twitter account and pay attention to both the Outrun Discord and then what I'm doing also on my YouTube, definitely you can give some feedback before any of that emerges, because I'd love to get feedback on what people think are the artists and the albums to include, not only on the Synthwave Essentials chart redo from 3 to 4, but a whole other sequel chart that's going to be coming out that has a whole lot of other styles included on that that haven't been part of the Essentials chart 3. All right, so let me know, subscribe, and let's talk about Synthwave some more on the next video, and on Twitter and on Discord.